Have you ever found yourself giving like a 5-minute speech for what was basically a one-sentence mistake? Well, today we are diving deep into the psychology of over-explaining. And what we're going to find is that it's not a flaw. It's actually a pretty powerful, highly adaptive survival skill that your mind developed for a really, really good reason. So let's start with a feeling that I'm willing to bet is all too familiar for a lot of you. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Maybe you were just a few minutes late or you forgot to reply to one simple email, and all of a sudden you've launched into this whole monologue, justifying every single tiny step that led to that one little slip-up. And it's not just about being chatty. It's this deep, sinking feeling inside, this fear that any small mistake is going to be completely misinterpreted, or that the silence on the other end of the phone is a sure sign that they're secretly furious with you. But what if I told you that from a psychological standpoint, this isn't a character flaw at all? What if it's actually a deeply ingrained and pretty clever survival mechanism? Here's the big reframe, where society might just slap a label on someone, oh, they're so insecure or they're just anxious. Psychology sees something totally different. It sees a person who's incredibly observant of emotions, who's highly adaptive, and you know what? Who's a survivor. Your brain learned to do this for a reason. So let's get into the science of it. We're going to break down 5 hidden psychological reasons that are actually deriving this habit. And in the process, we're going to turn what feels like a weakness into a sign of something much, much deeper. All right, so what's the first root cause? Let's kick it off. It so often starts with something that psychologists call rejection sensitivity. And look, this isn't just about not wanting to be disliked. We all feel that. No, this is a heightened state of awareness where your mind is on high alert for any possible sign of disapproval. And it's usually because of some painful stuff in the past. Think about it like this. Your over-explanation is basically a tool. You're not just talking for the sake of it. You are actively trying to manage the other person's reaction. You're trying to stop a conflict before it can even start, just to make sure you stay safe in that relationship. And that incredible sensitivity leads us right into our second reason. Now, this one is absolutely fascinating. People who tend to over-explain are often masters at reading a room. I mean, you can pick up on the tiniest shift in someone's tone of voice, a pause that's just a little too long, or a text message that just feels off. And your brain immediately flags these as potential danger. And because of that, you rush in to fill that silence, right? To kind of fix the weird energy you're sensing. It's like a preemptive strike against that quiet, sinking feeling of being misunderstood, a feeling your brain learned to watch out for a long, long time ago. Okay, our third reason. This one goes even deeper into the past. This one really goes deep. If you grew up in a place where you were constantly told things like, you're just too sensitive, or that's not what really happened, your nervous system learned that it had to be on guard 24/7. You were forced to constantly defend your own reality. This is probably why just making a simple statement doesn't feel like enough for you. You feel this need to show up with a whole mountain of evidence to prove your point, because your past taught you that your word alone wasn't going to be heard or, frankly, respected. Next up, let's talk about how all of this affects our own needs. So this happens when maybe early in life, you had to be the emotional caretaker for other people. You learned to kind of push your own needs down. And now, even asking for something simple or setting a totally reasonable boundary can trigger these really intense feelings of guilt. And the result? You over-explain to basically apologize for having a need in the first place. A simple no turns into a 5-point essay because you're desperately trying to soften what feels like this huge imposition, even when it's not. And finally, our fifth reason. And I gotta say, this one might surprise you because it's not about trauma. It's actually about intelligence. Yup, you heard that right. Sometimes over-explaining is just a sign of a highly complex mind. Your brain doesn't see things in simple black and white. It is naturally processing every little detail, every possible outcome, and all the nuance that other people might just miss. So while one person might just give a quick, simple answer, your mind is busy making sure the other person has all the information they need to understand the full picture. You're not over-explaining because you're anxious. You're doing it out of a deep desire for total clarity and accuracy. So, after looking at all of this, what does it all really mean? Well, it means we need a totally new perspective on this habit. Just let that sink in for a moment. All of these complex mechanisms, these adaptations, they are not signs that something is wrong with you. Not at all. At the end of the day, over-explaining is a strategy. It's a highly sophisticated one that your brain developed to navigate some really complex social situations and ultimately to protect you. Honestly, it's a testament to your resilience. And that's the final thought I really want to leave you with. What if this thing, this tendency you've probably worried about for years, what if it isn't a bug in your system, but a feature? A core part of your unique psychological makeup, a tool that has helped you survive? What changes when you start to see it that way?